Hey everyone, what's going on? Before I begin in this video, if you're new to the channel or new to the information that I'm going to start presenting to you, please go to the video description and I'll leave some links for you to check out. You can apply this knowledge for yourself so you know more of what I'm talking about and why I'm talking about it. But basically what I'm going to talk about is gematria, which is the practice of coding numbers into words. And it is used every single day in our mainstream media. I've made tons and tons of videos showing this, proving it over and over that it is used. Our sports leagues are scripted this way. And all throughout our told history, it is also scripted this way, all scripted with gematria. But another thing that you need to know in regards to gematria is you have to understand that the people who control us and the people who control the media and control the sports leagues, they also use themes. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. For example, we just had the Houston Astros win the World Series a little bit ago. And all year I was documenting something in regards to a space theme. Then we got the Great American Eclipse, right? Once again, something connected to space. Then just after that, we got Hurricane Harvey. And then the first pitcher to pitch in Houston just after Hurricane Harvey was Matt Harvey of the New York Mets. And even yesterday, we got the Manhattan attack. And that started on West Houston Street. And they even interviewed a guy wearing a Houston Astros hat because they're cluing you in if you pay attention. But in this video, I'm going to talk about the reason why we got the JFK files that were released on October 26th. And all of it stems back to Marilyn Manson. If you've been paying attention, we've been getting lots of stories about Marilyn Manson in the mainstream media. We got a story about him feuding with Justin Bieber. Another story about him saying that Columbine ruined his career. And then, of course, we also got the one where he got hurt in New York City when he was playing a show. And they gave us that story. He got hurt on September 30th, but in the media, that story came out on October 1st, the same day as the Las Vegas shooting stuff. And of course, in Gematria, Marilyn Manson equals 60, and he got hurt in New York City. That equals 60, and his real name's Brian Warner. That equals 60, and there's a lot of other interesting connections. Donald Trump equals 60 in Gematria. The super N-word equals 60. Everybody thinks Donald Trump's a racist and everything else. Look at this. Ku Klux Klan equals 60. They hate the super N-words. It's all scripted scripted by Gematria. And of course, Trump also won the election in New York, or when we found out he won the election on the anniversary of the Berlin Wall coming down. He was at his 58-story Trump Towers and whatnot. But part of the reason that Marilyn Manson sticks out so much is because Marilyn Manson is actually named after a mixture of Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson. And Marilyn Monroe, think about her in regards to JFK and whatnot. And then Charles Manson was the guy who believed in the helter-skelter theory, where he thought that the blacks were going to rise up and there was going to be a war between the whites and the blacks. And just think about that in regards to everything that's been going on since Donald Trump was running for president and now is the president, and blacks rising up, and now everybody's kneeling for the national anthem. And it's all by this code. Kneel equals 88 in Gematria. Trump equals 88. Colin Kaepernick equals 88 in Gematria. The Star Spangled Banner equals 88 in Gematria. It was inspired by the Great Garrison flag. That's what the national anthem was inspired by. That equals 88 in Gematria. The Super Bowl this year is in US Bank Stadium. That equals 88 in Gematria. And the World Series began on the 88th anniversary of the stock market crash falling. And think about that in regards to US Bank Stadium. U.S. Bank, Donald Trump wants to build the wall, Wall Street, all kinds of stuff. And you got to pay attention to the themes along with Gematria. The president who signed the national anthem into Congress was Herbert Hoover. Herbert Hoover, think about it, H is the eighth letter, a lot like 88, right? And it's the 88th anniversary of the stock market falling. Herbert Hoover and Gematria equals 159. Donald Trump in reverse, 159. The guy who wrote the national anthem, Francis Key, 159, also 60, right? And that's even why we're having Justin Timberlake sing at the national anthem, because the last time he did it was with Janet Jackson, and he showed her boob or whatever, and can't even remember, lost my train of thought. He showed her boob in that, but she was singing songs off her album Rhythm Nation 1814, and that's named in honor of the year Francis Scott Key wrote the national anthem. So it all goes back to this. And think about Charles Manson and, the blacks rising up, and now the blacks are kneeling. That's what the media keeps portraying. And then, like I said, Marilyn Monroe, think about her affair with JFK. We also just got a story the other day about Marilyn Monroe, and never before seen photos were released, right? So never before seen photos of Marilyn Monroe being released. Right around the same time, they're going to release these never before seen classified documents of JFK, right? The JFK assassination. And what's super interesting about all of this, so you have to understand there's this Catholic connection between JFK and Donald Trump. JFK was the only known Catholic president, right? And he was the 35th president. The word Catholic equals 35. And Donald Trump went to Fordham University, and Fordham University is a Jesuit university, and Pope Francis, supposedly the first Jesuit pope, their birthdays are 187 days apart. The Jesuits are actually called Society of Jesus, which equals 187. And Donald Trump, his Republican National Convention was in Cleveland at Quicken Loans Arena on 18/7, which was 187 days before he became the president on January 20th. And, other interesting things in regards to 187. Washington, D.C. equals 187. George Washington equals 187, also 88. But if you know Gematria and you go back and look at the death of JFK, JFK died 144 days after meeting the Pope in 1963, which, 144 is this number I've shown a ton in regards to political assassination. It has a whole lot of other interesting connections, but it's definitely a number that is super synced up to political assassination. And I'll explain more as we move along here. But just know JFK died 144 days after meeting the Pope. And Donald Trump just so happened to meet the Pope this year on May 24th, which is the 144th day of the year. And that day was also Donald Trump's fourth month and fourth day of being the president. And if you write out 44 as words, 44 equals 144. Just even think about April 4th, the 4-4, the date. April 4th equals 144. And May 24th, 5/24, JFK also died 5 months, 24 days after his birthday. And then 144 days after meeting the Pope, Donald Trump meets the Pope on 5/24 on the 144th day of the year. And the reason that I bring all of this up is because if you go from Donald Trump's 71st birthday to the day that they're going to release these JFK files, or they did release these JFK files, it's a span of 134 days, which is 10 days before 144 days after Donald Trump's birthday. Hopefully that makes sense. If you go to November 5th, that is 144 days after Donald Trump's birthday. This number around political assassination And the JFK files were released 10 days before this. And Marilyn Manson is all about, his new album is all about the number 10. And he even has a song, Say 10, where in the video he shows, an assassination or Donald Trump with his head blown off, right? Say 10. So he's putting emphasis on this number 10. He was even originally supposed to miss 9 shows and come back on the 10th of his tour when he got hurt. But now, if you look it up, he's coming back on November 5th, 144 days after Donald Trump's birthday. And if you remember, RFK, JFK's brother, he gave a speech in Roseburg, Oregon, and then he got assassinated 10 days later, and he died at 1:44 in the morning, supposedly. And we also had JFK, who died on the first day of Sagittarius. Sagittarius equals 144. Abraham Lincoln supposedly had a dream on April 4th, 4/4. Remember, 44 equals 144. April 4th equals 144. That was 10 days before he got shot on April 14th, which in most parts of the world, they write the date 14/4, a lot like 144. If you read out 10 days later in Gematria, it equals 144. And think about RFK before we even move on. RFK gave a speech in Roseburg, Oregon. Remember, what was it, 2015, when we got the Roseburg, Oregon shooting at the Umpqua Community College and whatnot? And then it was we had just got the story about the Thales train attack in France or whatever, and with Alex Skarlatos, or however you say his name, and he was from Roseburg, Oregon. That was just before this Roseburg, Oregon shooting on October 1st. Now we just got the Las Vegas shooting on October 1st, the day that leaves 91 days in the year, the Harvest 91 festival. And this Roseburg, Oregon thing was even synced up to Jimmy Carter's 91st birthday. It happened on his 91st birthday. And then 80 days later, his grandson died the same day that Steve Harvey messed up at the Miss Universe pageant, right? And that same night, we got that story. We got a story of a lady ramming into people on the sidewalk in Las Vegas where the Miss Universe was held. But it was 80 days after October 1st. Roseburg, Oregon equals 80. The Miss Universe pageant had 80 people in it. It was on December 20th. December 20th equals 80. A whole bunch of 80 in that story, which I'm not sure how that all connects in here, but just know that it's important and it's synced up. There's these interrelated stories. That's what I'm trying to get. And there's themes that are involved with this. Anyway, I looked up Marilyn Monroe, and everybody knows Marilyn Monroe in regards to JFK for singing Happy Birthday, Mr. President, right? And when I looked that up, I found out that Marilyn Monroe actually sang Happy Birthday, Mr. President to JFK 10 days before his actual birthday. So once again, this 10 thing, 10 days before. And it was 10 days before his 45th birthday. Think about that in regards to Donald Trump. Donald Trump, the 45th president, but he's also only the 44th person to be the president. So JFK was actually 44 when Marilyn Monroe sang to him, and then he turned 45. Donald Trump, the 44th person to be the president, and he's known as the 45th president, right? So once again, another weird connection to this 10 days before. The Marilyn Manson song that's all about say 10, and the number 10, it has Donald Trump's head blown off in the music video. Marilyn Monroe is also important because on October 1st, the same day as this Roseburg, Oregon thing, the same day we got the Marilyn Manson getting injured story, the same day as the Las Vegas shooting. That was also the day that Playboy was founded, and Marilyn Monroe is the first centerfold of Playboy, and we just got the death of Hugh Hefner at the age of 91, just before the Route 91 Harvest Festival on the day that leaves 91 days in the year. It's all these stories are super interrelated, which that's why I think it's interesting that Marilyn Manson is coming back on his tour in San Bernardino on November 5th now, which is 144 days after Donald Trump's birthday. And I just showed a whole bunch of the 144 stuff. And so to keep going along with all of this stuff, yesterday we got this story about Rose McGowan and how they're trying to silence her because she's one of the main people standing out against Harvey Weinstein, or however you say his name. Harvey. I mean, are you kidding me? Just after Hurricane Harvey, we get this story about Harvey Weinstein molesting kids, or molesting, actresses and whatever else. Just how ridiculous. How do people not catch on to that? Harvey. And think about JFK, Lee Harvey Oswald. It's all interrelated. But what you don't know about Rose McGowan is that she dated Marilyn Manson back in the 90s. And Rose McGowan was even in the music video called Coma White with Marilyn Manson, and they reenacted the JFK assassination. She even played Jackie Kennedy. So that's why we're getting these stories about, that's why Rose McGowan is one of the high-profile people in the Harvey Weinstein thing. It's because she dated Marilyn Manson, and they did this JFK thing in one of the videos, It's all interrelated. They're showing us a bunch of stuff in regards to JFK and how it's connected to Donald Trump. Whether they're truly going to assassinate him or not, it's all a riddle. You have to figure out what the riddle is for and why they keep doing this. But they really, really are, secretly showing something that is connected to, Donald Trump and the JFK assassination. And I'm going to make separate videos. I might just recover some of these topics and make shorter videos. But I was listening to the Gematria effect a little bit ago, and there was even a caller that called in and talked about this new TV show called 10 Days in the Valley. And he said something about one of the characters wearing the Tom Petty shirt. We just got the death of Tom Petty, right? And it was Tom Petty died 40 days after, canceling a show on their 40th anniversary tour and whatever else. And yesterday, the Manhattan attack and the Wendy Williams stuff was all about the number 40. By the way, just mentioning that out of the blue, but Manhattan attack equals 40 and Halloween equals 40 and a ton of other stuff. Can't even remember it all. But just how interesting. This guy calls in 10 Days in the Valley, and this show came out on October 1st, the same day as the Las Vegas shooting. And he said they did something in regards to talking about an attack or something in regards to Las Vegas, I thought. But I can't remember what exactly he said. But just it stuck out to me instantly because the show's called 10 Days in the Valley, and it comes out on that day. There's just definitely something super special about this 10 days. I don't even know what 10 days in Gematria is. 10 days. 88. Fitting, Fitting for Trump and everything else that I'm talking about. But gonna leave the video there. Like I said, I'm gonna go back through and make some of these other posts because there's just so much interrelated stuff going on. The themes are very important to how you use Gematria as well. So that's something that I always try to get across to people. Even without Gematria, you can look at this stuff and see that it is coded even without numbers. But once you know Gematria, you just understand the coding that much more. Before I end it, I'll just re-explain something about why Marilyn Manson has a song called "You Say God and I Say 10," like the number, because God in Gematria equals 10, and also Satan equals 10, right? And it's a play on Satan. Say 10, you say God, and I say 10. Because, God and Satan both equal 10. That's the reason why Marilyn Manson has done that. So I'll leave Zenith of the Alphas video in the link description as well. He goes way more in depth with all of the 10 stuff, and he shows a whole lot of cool stuff with Marilyn Manson and why it's the number 10 and whatnot. But anyway, have a good one. Peace.